young man. He was dark in coloring, but the long Spanish face that looked out from so many canvases in his ancestral portrait gallery was in the young cardinal much modified through his English mother. With his café oscuro eyes, he had a fresh, pleasant English mouth and an open manner. During the latter years of the reign of Gregory XVI, de Allende had been the most influential man at the Vatican, but since the death of Gregory 2 years ago, he had retired to his country estate. He believed the reforms of the new pontiff impracticable and dangerous, and had withdrawn from politics, confining his activities to work for the Society for the Propagation of the Faith, that organization which had been so fostered by Gregory. In his leisure, the cardinal played tennis. As a boy in England, he had been passionately fond of this sport. Lawn tennis had not yet come into fashion. It was a formidable game of indoor tennis the cardinal played. Amateurs of that violent sport came from Spain and France to try their skill against him. The missionary, Bishop Ferrand, looked much older than any of them, old and rough, except for his clear, intensely blue eyes. His diocese lay within the icy arms of the Great Lakes, and on his long, lonely horseback rides among his missions, the sharp winds had bitten him well. The missionary was here for a purpose, and he pressed his point. He ate more rapidly than the others and had plenty of time to plead his cause. Finished each course with such dispatch that the Frenchman remarked he would have made an ideal dinner companion for Napoleon. The bishop laughed and threw out his brown hands in apology. "Likely enough I have forgot my manners. I am preoccupied. Here you can scarcely understand what it means that the United States has annexed that enormous territory which was the cradle of the faith in the New World. The Vicariate of New Mexico will be in a few years raised to an episcopal see, with jurisdiction over a country larger than Central and Western Europe, barring Russia. The bishop of that see will direct the beginning of momentous things." "Beginnings," murmured the Venetian. "There have been so many. But nothing ever comes from over there but trouble and appeals for money." The missionary turned to him patiently. "Your Eminence, I beg you to follow me. This country was evangelized in 1500 by the Franciscan fathers. It has been allowed to drift for nearly 300 years and is not yet dead. It still pitifully calls itself a Catholic country and tries to keep the forms of religion without instruction. The old mission churches are in ruins. The few priests are without guidance or discipline. They are lax in religious observance, and some of them live in open concubinage. If this Augean stable is not cleansed, now that the territory has been taken over by a progressive government, it will prejudice the interests of the Church in the whole of North America." "But these missions are still under the jurisdiction of Mexico, are they not?" inquired the Frenchman. "In the see of the Bishop of Durango," added Maria de Allende. The missionary sighed. "Your Eminence, the Bishop of Durango is an old man, and from his seat to Santa Fe is a distance of 1,500 English miles. There are no wagon roads, no canals, no navigable rivers. Trade is carried on by means of pack mules, over treacherous trails. The desert down there has a peculiar horror. I do not mean thirst, nor Indian massacres, which are frequent. The very floor of the world is cracked open into countless canyons and arroyos, fissures in the earth which are sometimes 10 feet deep, sometimes 1,000. Up and down these stony chasms the traveler and his mules clamber as best they can. It is impossible to go far in any direction without crossing them. If the Bishop of Durango should summon a disobedient priest by letter, who shall bring the padre to him? Who can prove that he ever received the summons? The post is carried by hunters, fur trappers, gold seekers, whoever happens to be moving on the trails." The Norman cardinal emptied his glass and wiped his lips. "And the inhabitants, Father Ferrand? If these are the travelers, who stays at home?" "Some 30 Indian nations, Monsignor, each with